We acknowledge ourselves for still being alive. And then acknowledge each other for being so damn cute. And then acknowledge yourself for being so damn cute. See, that's the biggest test of all, is being willing to acknowledge yourself.
And acknowledge you for being so damn cute.
All right, let's take a breath, because we're gonna get deep tonight. Yeah, we're gonna get deep. I'm gonna rile you up.
Rile us up.
Rile you up. That's right. You're gonna like some of the things I say. You're gonna hate some of the things I say. You're gonna resist some of the things I say, and you're gonna want to be glad to hear some of the things I say. And the things you resist the most, you know it's the truest. That's the reason why it's bugging you. You know, because there's probably some part of you that's giving power to it. So if you're here for the first time, there's only a few rules to really understanding this class, which is that you don't have to understand it.
Yeah.
You don't need to accept nothing I say out of the course of out of the way of mastery. You don't have to accept it, welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it might be quite startling. You're not asked to judge and analyze it, but that's what we've been taught to do since the day we were born, and so therefore it's probably going to happen. If you use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas are true, and the core idea behind what I'm teaching is that you give everything that you see or hear all the meaning that it has for you. So the core belief is you give everything you see, everything you feel, everything all the meaning that it has for you. Does that make sense to everybody? So you're giving yourself all the meanings and interpretations of anything that you hear tonight. It's going to be you giving yourself all the meaning to everything that you hear tonight. It's going to be you determining how you feel about whatever you hear tonight. So this is not a method of conversion. Teaching is a method of conversion in the sense that to teach is to demonstrate, and anything that you're demonstrating, sooner or later, you're going to be converted into that. So anything you're demonstrating, you're going to eventually think that's what you are. So the way of mastery is about the practical application of these ideas. So let's get started. And I'm going to do a little short meditation, a little short centering. Here we go. Yeah, come on in. Come over here.
And in everything, what do you feel that connection? Right to the root of creation, unto the song of the ancients, older than the sun.
If you would know love, know yourself. 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 If you would know freedom, know yourself. If you would know freedom, know yourself. If you would know peace, know yourself. If you would know peace, know yourself. If you would know joy, know yourself. If you would know joy, know yourself. If you would know power, know yourself. If you would know power, know yourself. If you would know abundance, know yourself. If you would know abundance, know yourself. If you would know God, know yourself. If you would know God, know yourself. Know yourself. If you would know love, know yourself. If you would know love, know yourself. If you would know fun, know yourself. If you would know love, 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 know yourself. If you would know love. I'll get that kind of acknowledgement one way or another. I'm going to bring me a backing track.
There you go.
That's what I'm going to do. I know what to do. So, we're going to be on page, in the way of the heart, in the way of mastery, we're going to be on page 71. 71, in the way of the heart. Love heals all things, lesson 6. You must know love to know yourself.
Thank you very much.
So I'm going to go through the paragraph, and then we're gonna go through the paragraph, and then we're gonna go through the paragraph. Okay. Okay. In truth, there is a place within you that already knows the day and the hour. In truth, there is a place within you that already knows the day and the hour. You already know when you are going to decide to live the decision to be awake in God. You already know when you are going to decide to live the decision to be awake in love. You already know when you're going to decide to live the decision. You already know when you're going to decide to do this. You already know when you're going to decide to do what we're learning, which is the decision to awaken God. What does it mean to awaken God? It means to be only the presence of love. So what does that mean? It means you've already decided to live the decision to be awake in God, which means you've already decided to live the decision to be in only the presence of love. You've already made the decision. You've already decided to live the decision. You already know when you're going to practice whatever it is you say your spiritual path is. You already know when you're going to actually live the decision to only be in the presence of love according to this. Then it says, this is what love does. See if you pass the love test. Love embraces all things. Love allows all things. Love trusts all things. So you trust everything. Do you trust everything? Do you allow everything? Do you embrace everything? Do you embrace everyone? Do you allow everyone? Do you trust everyone? Love does. Also, love transcends everything. Love is able to go beyond it. I can embrace it and then go to something even greater. So it says, here's the next big test. Love is never possessive. Never possessive. Never possessive. True love is never possessive. True love is never possessive. True love is never possessive, according to the way of mastery in every other spiritual book you read. Next test. Love is never fearful. You are never feeling love when you're feeling fear. you fear me, you don't love me. If you're sitting up here right now and you're full of suspicion and doubt, and you're wondering what my game is, or what it is that I'm doing, or what my ulterior motive is, you're afraid of me. You're not loving me. You're afraid of me. Love is never fearful. You're not afraid. If I'm in a relationship with somebody and what I feel is a lot of fear to communicate or a lot of fear to be who I am, I just tell myself right off the bat, Earl, you do not love this person. That's not the same as being attracted to them. That's not the same as feeling passion for them. It's not the same as you want to hang out with them. You might feel all those things and it not be love. So that's my test. If I'm afraid to communicate, if I'm afraid to be myself, then I know my love is blocked. Love is there, it's blocked. Love is there, it's blocked. So love is never fearful, love is simply love. And so it says, love cannot shine with specialness. Love is not 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 special. 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 Because special means that you have singled something or someone out. And we already heard that it says love embraces all things. It doesn't single him out and exclude the rest of you. Get riled up. Somebody just get riled up. Anybody riled up yet? Nobody's in here that's riled up yet? Okay. Remember now, just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's not true. And just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean it's not true. Just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean it's not true. Just because you don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true. Just because you don't believe something, it doesn't mean it's not true. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean it's not true. Because what you're experiencing right now is what the meaning you're giving to what you're hearing. That's what you're reacting to right now. The way you're hearing what I'm saying. One of the things the Spirit has told me that's the most important thing that I can possibly do in my classes from now is repeat. Because you never drive a nail in with one blow. And that's one of the errors we make. We read the sentence, then read another 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 sentence, and read another sentence. But we don't take the time to hear what we are reading. So I'm going to do that more and more and more to the chagrin of some people. I'd rather you walk here remembering love is never possessive if you don't hear anything. That's just one sentence. But if that's true, it explains my love life. It might explain yours. Love cannot shine with specialness upon anyone at any time. Why? For specialness itself is a contradiction. Specialness is a contradiction. So when you are making me special to you, you're making me a contradiction to you. And that, what does that mean? Well, actually, specialness is the attempt to take love and then make love shine only on one object. I just love my car. Love my car. Love my car. Love my car. Somebody hit my car. I said it hit me. That's how much I identify with it. Somebody ran into me yesterday. It was hitting my car. That's how much I identify with my stuff. Anybody relate? Yeah. Have you ever said something like that? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Love doesn't do that. He says specialness is an attempt to take love and make it shine only on one person. Have you looked at movies and TV and noticed that in the love relationships that you see on TV, the thing that people get most upset about is if they think that the person they're in love with loves somebody else beside them. What is it that a child most gets upset about if they're in a family of children? Is the idea that the parent loves one person, one child more than the other. As a matter of fact, those of us who have children, we know that it's possible to love both your children. It's possible to love all the books in your bookcase. So we know we can love more than one. So it's telling us that love is inclusive, specialness is exclusive. It's singling one thing or person out, which means it's a contradiction to what love is. My child is special to me, so I'm very concerned about my child's welfare. Your child? That's not love. That means my child is special to me. Does that make sense to everybody? What we call love is just specialness. Okay, so it says love, specialness is an attempt to take love and make it shine on only one person, only on one being, only within one universe. Therefore, whenever you recognize that you have singled someone or something else, whenever you recognize that you have singled someone or something out, whenever you recognize that you've singled someone or something out and said they hold a greater value, you may rest assured that you're not in love at all. Makes sense though, because it's the people who've been the most special to me in the past who are not speaking to me now. Amen?
Amen.
Think about it. Think about it. It's the people that you said were the most special to you in the past, that you're not in relationship now, that you probably don't talk to at all now, and you all were like eating each other alive. Kissing and hugging and how important you are. And then you probably told that incredible lie that we tell. Well, even if the relationship ends, we're still going to be friends. We still are going to hang out and spend time together. I still have some so-called exes who I'm in a very cool relationship with. But it's different from the way we were when we were in deep in specialness. I don't get all the specialness privileges like I used to. Somebody else is now. Now they're vowing to this other person that they're the only one forever. And they're going to be friends from now on. Okay. Because now they have what? A different projection screen. Same projector. Now you just got a new screen called a new person to project your desires on, your fantasies on, and what they're supposed to do to make you happy. And some of us are like IMAX theaters. 3D. Right? You'll see them take that new person to that same friggin' restaurant they took you. Same movie, just different screen. Think about it. Use the analogy of a movie and a movie screen and you'll know exactly what we do. That's the only analogy we need. We're the projectors and you are my screens. And I've got a movie that I've been working on since I was born. An epic production.
Raj production.
It's a Raj production. And I'm tweaking it. You know, oh, okay, I projected on you. See if I can get you to act out my fantasies and make me have the value that I don't give myself. Okay, it worked out pretty good with you, but you act like you have a life of your own. we're just not going to work out. Not at all. Not at all. You're here to make me happy. That's the purpose of your existence. Now I know what happened in my relationships. They weren't love. They were specialness. Okay. Breathe. That's right. I don't want you to be passing out in my class. Sometimes people fall out on the floor. All right. So, I'll say it again. If you single out somebody or if you single something out and they hold a greater value, you're not in love. You are in fear. So what you do, the minute you single somebody out, should say, you know what? I've just fallen in fear with you. I want you all to myself. I've just fallen in fear with you. Would you fall in fear with me too? So let's say you want to fall in fear with me. I want to fall in fear with you. We want to exclude everybody else. Now we have a relationship made in heaven. And we don't realize we just asked for hell. See, sometimes you fall in fear with somebody and they don't fall into fear with you. Ooh. So when that happens, you feel rejected. You rejected my fear. I got to go get therapy. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you fall in fear with people and they fall in fear with you. And then you both limit each other in the name of love. And you call it normal. It usually goes by the name monogamy.
Don't look at me.
And then sometimes you exclude more than one person, and they exclude more than one person, and then you exclude everybody else other than the few people that you all see as special with you, maybe it's 4 or 5, and you call that polyamory. It's the exact same thing, it's just more fear. First I just had to deal with your jealousy, now I got to deal with his jealousy, and her jealousy, and her jealousy, and her jealousy, and her possessiveness, because now I went to a polyamory meeting one time, I was just going to check it out to see if that might be something I'd like to try. Me and my partner went there and we were checking it out, and it was more rules than I ever heard of in my life. Everybody had to tell everybody everything and making sure it's all right, but over here and talk to this person over here, make sure you can do that over there. I was like, damn, that's worse than monogamy. It's enough dealing with one insane, fearful relationship. Why would I want to have 10? Okay. Stuff like that would only work if you embraced each other, allowed each other, trusted each other, transcended each other, and didn't try to possess each other and wasn't afraid of each other. Then you could have all those relationships in peace, or one in peace. It wouldn't make no difference how many people you loved if you were in the presence of love, embracing them, allowing them, trusting them, transcending with them, and never trying to possess them and not afraid of each other. You could have 1,000 relationships and they wouldn't be complicated. They're only complicated when you want to possess each other. See, I found that the secret of loving everybody is to do nothing with them. I have the most uncomplicated love life you can imagine. I let everybody around me do whatever the hell they want to do. And don't try to interfere with it, or don't try to make them do what I want them to do. Unless it's because they want to. Then they're still free. Does that make sense to everybody? Love is easy. Fear is a lot of work. You be with somebody that's totally insecure and see how much you work. You can never do enough for an insecure person. You can never do enough for an insecure person. You can never do enough for an insecure person. You can never show an insecure person enough love that it will be enough love for them. You can never show a suspicious, fearful person enough love that it would be okay and they'll be okay with you and what you do, because it's a hole inside of them that only God and them can feel. So if they're looking to you to fill it, then you'll never succeed. If they wake up and say they have some insecurities and I'm looking for the universe and spirit to heal my perception and allow me to know my wholeness, then there's some hope. But if they're looking to you to prove that they're valuable. You'll never be able to do it enough. The closest you'll come is just being around them all the time, and them just being around you all the time, and you'll absolutely exclude everything and everybody else in the universe. And then you get bored. You got to get bored. You know that, right? If you're a fearful person and you're trying to keep a person within a certain parameter so that they won't frighten you because you're insecure, then you're going to try to control their behavior. If you control another person's behavior, they allow you to, then there's just one little circle. For instance, it's so simple to see. That's why I think we get a chance to do this. This is you. Did you recognize yourself? Okay. Now you've gotten into a special relationship. As long as you stay within that boundary, which varies from person to person, depending on their insecurities, they'll give you their love. But everybody else is out here. All new experiences are out here. Now, you all are going to give each other something too. So you do this, but you're inside the boundaries. So sooner or later, there ain't going to be room for nothing else. So y'all just going to start repeating the same thing you've already done. So how does that look? I know what they're going to say. I know what they're going to wear. I know what they're going to do. I know where we're going to go. I know what's going to happen all the time before they even say anything. I know. And then people say, you know, we know each other so well, we can finish each other's sentences. That's pathetic. That's the most pathetic thing I ever heard in my life. That's not telepathy, that's possession. Routine, boredom. Now, here's another little tip. I'll free you. Okay. Now, you may be insecure and fearful, and you need to learn how to love, right? So you might need boundaries. You might need agreements. Why? Because unless you have those boundaries and agreements, you don't feel safe enough to love. Everybody with me on that one? You know, if you're a person that absolutely freaks out at the thought of your partner going to lunch with somebody else, that's the box you need that they promise you I won't. Then you feel safe. The minute you feel safe, you open your heart and you start to feel the love that's within you to give. Fair enough? Mm-hmm. So if you need boundaries in any way right now, it's okay. Got that? Okay, here's the challenge. When you don't love yourself, the last thing you're going to do is seek out someone like you. Because if you seek out someone with the same goals you have and the same agreements you want to make, you're going to have peace with each other. But if you don't love yourself, you don't think you deserve peace. So people who don't love themselves, they'll need these boundaries, but they'll fall in love with somebody out here who wants none. They're guaranteed to. Be quiet, because they deserve peace, so they want to have conflict all the time. So they always have relationships that are conflicting, dissatisfying, broken into by periods in which you look like you're having a good time with each other. Okay, so if you're going to make an agreement that you don't go out to lunch with anybody else but each other unless you talk about it, process about it, write a book about it, make sure you talk about it 3 hours about it, plan 3 weeks ahead, and have a GPS camera on each other while you're doing it, because the love is so real. Then you need another person who has the same box. Because then they'll keep the agreement and you'll keep the agreement. You will feel good with each other. You'll feel safe with each other. And you'll probably let your love come through more. And then when you let your own love come through more, you will feel more whole. And the more whole you feel, you might go back to each other and say, you know what, let's renegotiate that. I think it would be okay if you went to lunch with somebody. Because I feel my own love for me. So I can release you some, because I don't need you to give me that, because I'm giving it to myself now. Does that make sense to everybody? But it started with being with someone of a like mind. That's how it started. And you already know whether or not you're with somebody with a like mind or not. You want to know how? how much are you conflicting and how much are you having peace with each other? If you're having a lot of conflict with the person that you're with, y'all are not equal boxes. One of you all, you are different from each other. You're not the same. In purpose, not personality. Purpose. I'm talking about purpose, not personality. It's okay to have different personalities with the same purpose. You could come over here to the church in different model cars that don't look different, right? They look different, but they all brought you over to the church, so all the different models were okay if they had the same purpose, right? So I'm not talking about same personalities, that's boring. I'm talking about same purpose. You want someone with the same purpose that you have. With me? Are y'all with me? Talk to me. Are you with me? Y'all okay?
Yeah.
I know I'm talking about the rile up stuff. That's okay. We need to get riled up because it's pathetic what we do. That's pathetic. It's pathetic. Yeah. So we so scared, and we call it love. So the next time you fall in love with somebody, and it looks like love at first sight, and you're attracted to them immediately, and you feel your heart pounding and your blood rushing, remind yourself that's the same feeling that you get when a dog chases you down the street. That's fear. I know that's love. What you talking about? I know that's love. No, it's specialness. It's specialness. How do you know it's specialness? Because you will lose the specialness if you don't keep the agreement and don't go to lunch with anyone else. Because if you do, I'm going to separate from you. And if you can separate, you were never joined. So when I finish this paragraph, I'm going to let y'all attack me, okay? In the form of questions, okay? Since I didn't write the book, I don't care about answering them. Okay? Because I want real love. I want real love so much I'm making a public declaration to it that goes around the world. And there are going to be people that are going to watch my videos and they're going to say, I agree. Those people are going to want to be in contact with me. There are going to be some people that listen to me and go, I could never be in a relationship with him. He just wants to have sex with all kind of women. Yes. So I want to ease your mind, brother. Sane people. I want to join with sane people. What does that mean? It means it's okay if I do and okay if I don't. I'm a grown man. I can do what the heck I want to do with my body. I don't need nobody's approval. I don't have to feel ashamed if I say I want to have any kind of experience I want to have, especially one that's not violent. Who cares what anybody else okays my morality? If you got that much concern about me, where you at the next time I need to pay my rent? What are all these days? What are they doing for you? Are they feeding you? Are they clothing you? Are they housing you? Are they looking out for you? Then why do they matter? What they think if you're an adult? Well, when you realize you're already free and you've been working all these years to be what you already are, it's gonna freak you out. We're like prisoners we're like convicts in a prison that's been pardoned, with the cell door open, the prison courtyard deserted. The prison has been deserted for 100 years, and we're sitting on the bunk waiting for somebody to come free us. That's us. We're waiting for what's already been given us, which is our right to choose how we want to see our lives and how we want to live them. But we're studying to be able to be free, because we realize it's our mind that needs to be freed. Your body, your body just goes wherever you want it to go. It's not like I wanted to come over here tonight and my body say, Come on, body, come about this chick. I used to say stuff like, oh, my body made me do it. I just couldn't help myself. Y'all ever said that before? I just couldn't help myself. Like my body made me do something. My body has never made me do anything in my life. It just follows orders. It's totally neutral. I'm free because my mind is free, not because my body is free. You're free because you can think. You're free because you can think. And if you can think, that means you can give yourself new thoughts. And if you can give yourself new thoughts, you can give yourself new choices. If you can give yourself new choices, you can have new experiences. You are free. I don't care how you were brought up. I don't care how you were brought up. I don't care how you were brought up. I don't care what your religious beliefs are, your spiritual beliefs, what you learned as a child. I don't care anything about your beliefs. The only thing I care about is that you can think. And if you can think, no matter what you thought in the past, you can think something different now. No matter what you thought in the past, if you want to, you can think something different now. We're already free. You're already free. You're already free. You're already free. You just may be afraid to think for yourself. You just might be afraid to think for yourself. And the Course in Miracles teaches that you will believe your thoughts are impotent and have no power if you don't start thinking what you want to think. If you don't think what you want to think, how you want to think, then he says you will not know the power of your thought. Unless you take the truth that you say is true for you and make it personal and apply it to you, he says it'll never have any power in your life. Unless you take the truth you're hearing tonight and make it yours in your own way, it'll never be real to you. So we have to stop being afraid. It all boils down to, if you're an adult and you're not happy, you're afraid. If you're an adult and you're not happy, you're afraid to think for yourself. You need somebody's validation. What's the advantage of meeting people who love you, they embrace you, they allow you, they trust you? They don't try to possess you, and they're not afraid of you. And I guarantee you, if you're around people like that, you're never going to want to be around the fearful ones in an intimate relationship ever again. Amen. You will not be tempted by people. I don't care how good they look. It could be the butt from God. I ain't here to talk. Well, okay. Same people have butts. Same people have arms and legs and houses and cars and walk in parks and take trips and dance. Everything you think that you have to put up with where you only feel in fear and unhappiness so that you can be with that body. There are people who have bodies who will embrace you, allow you, trust you, transcend, never possess, and never fear you. And once you experience anybody like that, you will not be tempted to enter into fearful, possessive relationships of exclusion and fear. You just won't. It won't. The difference is so great. That's what's happening in my life right now. I am connecting with more and more people who are like this. And the more that happens, the less I'm tempted by people who are afraid of me. Or who would want to possess me or limit me or anything like that. Wow, when I think about how much crap I put myself through, when I think about how much I've limited my own self in my own life, I have to forgive myself for that. I find it more and more when I read this forgiveness stuff, it's me needing to forgive me for what I've done to me, not what I've done to you. That's who you're going to be forgiving, is you, for doing you the way you've done you. Stop doing you the way you've done you. Stop abusing yourself. Treat other people, treat yourself as good as you treat other people. It should be just the opposite. If you would treat yourself with the same kind of consideration that people in this room treat other people, you would have an amazing love for yourself. Because I bet you are easier on other people than you are on yourself. I bet you judge yourself harder than you do anybody else, that you criticize yourself more than you limit yourself more than you limit anybody else. If you've probably been on a spiritual path for a while, you need to bring yourself up to the level you're treating everybody else. You're concerned about everybody else's feelings. What about yours? Any questions? Any comments? It can be comments. It can be, hell no, I don't like what you said. It can be, that was great. But I would love to know how anybody feels about anything that I just said.
That was great.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Trinity. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me.
Well, I think it's great. I think that the more that I step into freeing other people, and the more I free myself, the more love I have in my life.
Are you noticing that too?
I am noticing that, right?
I am too. Anybody else?
And I think too that it really comes down to self-love.
You believe it really comes down to self-love.
Self-love, yeah. That when we can get to that point, then we're not so fearful about everybody else. You know.
Actually, you become more, like what I was saying about sex earlier. Actually, I'm more cautious about it than ever before in my life. You think that if you knew you were free and innocent, you'd run amok. Actually, it's just the opposite. When you're guilty, you run amok. And you form relationships that harm you and hurt you. When you start to love yourself, one of the things that goes with that is you want peace for yourself. And you also know that for most people, sex is the crazy switch.
I love those women.
I'll say it again. For most people who don't know what love is, sex is the crazy switch. I've seen women and men, I talk about my own experience. I've seen women in my own life be as sane as I could possibly experience them as being until sex started happening. And then I saw a side I'd never seen before in my life. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Have you seen yourself be that way? You were totally sane, let some physical intimacy happen, especially over a period of time, and you find that all of a sudden, you're not embracing all things, allowing all things, trusting all things, that you're becoming very possessive and fearful. Because we let sex be the symbol of love.
Yeah.
We use sex as the symbol of love. Why? I can go to the movie with most of you, we can walk in the park, we can do a lot of things. But my special person is always what? The person who I only have sex with. That's what sets me apart. Is there things you can do with my body and I can do with your body and nobody else does. It becomes the symbol of joining, the symbol of love, and therefore the symbol of fear. It was never meant to be used that way. So it has to hurt us because that's not what it's supposed to be used for.
Of this, for specialness itself is a contraction, the attempt to take love and make it shine on one object, one person, one being, or one universe. I mean, it takes it to, as soon as it got to one being, I had to think, well, I actually had to think what goes beyond a person. Well, there's a dog, there's a cat, right? There's every other kind of being that we absolutely exclude in the concept of, in our concept of specialized love, right? I love you and I have a cat, but then it went as far as to say, and we have more than one universe, we're contained within our universe, and so what would love look like to go beyond all universes and to all energy that exists? That's love. And anything short of that is specialness.
Right. Mm-hmm. See, before I can ever experience it, I have to know what it's not.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm ever going to experience what real love is, then I need somebody to tell me what real love isn't.
Right.
That's how you come to realize it. Because I was fooled. I thought I was in love with the person I was afraid of. I thought I was expressing love with the person that I was angry with. I thought I was expressing love with the person that I didn't trust and that I possessed. I thought that's what love was. Because that's what I was taught and that's what I was seeing around me, but I was overlooking the obvious, which is nobody looked really, 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 really happy with any kind of consistency.
Wait, but isn't that what you said?
I was waiting for you. I was waiting.
I'm holding it like for the last half hour.
Well, I know whenever I talk about
Because
specialness,
I
you
know
get
you don't
riled.
like
Whenever I talk about specialness, you always get riled up. You do it every time.
That's not true.
It's been true every time we talked about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So,
Mhm.
I lost my train of thought. Okay, so, first of all, there can be love, there is different loves, okay, but it's still love.
The truth says there is no different love.
Well, don't you love different people different ways?
No, you do specialness different ways.
And also, didn't we talk about the lessons, the reason, the meaning, why we end up with people that we are, because there is lessons to learn?
Yes.
And so,
yes.
I mean, isn't that
Yes.
part of being in this specialness that
Right.
you're talking about?
Right. I agree with you totally. The purpose, since we all have formed special relationships, right? Then we should use those special relationships as an opportunity to learn how to love.
Right.
Right. So that's why you don't have to be like freaking out if you do have special relationships, and we're here tonight that special relationship was in love. It just means this is the person you've chosen to learn how to express real love with. And the person who's most special to you ought to be the one you want to love the most first. Does that make sense? If I'm the most special to you, then it should be you. It should be, if I'm the most special to you, then it should be me that you want to be the presence of love with first, me that you want to embrace, me that you want to allow, me that you want to trust, me that you don't want to learn how not to possess, and me that you don't want to be afraid of, because I'm with you. I am the one you chose. But I find in my experience that that's the person that people are least enthusiastic about doing it with. I cannot tell you how many couples, I've mentioned this in the past, I cannot tell you how many couples that I've worked with who got depressed when I told them it was a way for them to be together and heal their relationship. Because they didn't want to love each other anymore. They didn't want to be together anymore. And they wanted to come and have counseling so they could say they tried. Because there's no, listen to me now, there are no two people who want to have love with each other and peace with each other who will not succeed in having it. It's impossible. It's impossible that I want to have peace with you and you want to have peace with me, and I'm willing to get off my have to be right position and you're willing to get off your have to be right position, that we won't solve whatever we're going through. The only two people who have to separate are people who want to. Those are the only two people who ever separate. It's people who want to. They have to both want to join, though. Some people, because they're studying the truth, they say, well, if I just change my mind, then that'll be enough. And then I don't have to deal with the other person at all. Yeah, you can do that if you want to, but that's a hell of a lot of responsibility that you're taking for yourself. If you can pull that off, great, more power to you. But why in the world would you want to do that with somebody who doesn't love you enough to want to love you? And doesn't love you enough to want to let go of blocks with you? Why would you even want to do that with somebody who tell you crazy as hell for wanting to practice any of this that we're talking about? Woo! This is like I said a minute ago. Some people are listening to me and they say, the hell with Earl Purdy, I don't want to have anything to do with him. I don't like a damn thing he's saying. He's weird. So what are they going to do? They're going to separate from me. Somebody who doesn't like me is going to go away. Oh. And then there are going to be other people that go, and that's what happened when I was in New York. There were so many people that walked up and say, God, man, the way you do it is the way I love it, man. The way you do it is the way I love it, man. The way you do it is the way I heard it, man. The way you say it is the way I had people come to me and say in the talk, after I gave the talk, that they went and apologized to some people that they had been doing certain things they realized was their wrong perception because they could hear what I was saying. That is not to build my ego up. When somebody acknowledges you, that is not building your ego up. Somebody acknowledging you is somebody loving you. We're so insane that when someone acknowledges you, you think you're supposed to act like that's not something that you really appreciate or deserve to have. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that people heard me and really loved what I said, because I mean Earl got an ego. No, Earl got an ego if he doesn't feel like what he has to say is valuable. And he's not valuable. That's when Earl is in his ego. Not when he's willing to receive love. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge you, and I do acknowledge you. I acknowledge you every week that you come to my class. Because I will see you as the beautiful being that you are, even if you don't see yourself that way yet. And since I already feel good about myself, I don't need you to respond to stroke my ego by me telling you you're beautiful. You don't have to say I'm beautiful back. You'll say I'm beautiful back when you think you're beautiful and when you know I am you. Up until that point, you're not going to give it back to me. And so I know where you're coming from. And you know where I'm coming from. Without a word being said. There are no private thoughts. There are no private thoughts. There are no private thoughts. Once you know the truth, you can see what's going on in your mind. Anybody else? Any thoughts? Yes. By the way, thank you for your question and your comments.
Right.
You better come and give me a big juicy hug after class is over with now. All right, I appreciate it.
I know, but I'm not going there.
I know that means you've heard everything I've said tonight. That's okay. You know what's great? Is that whether you do or not, that's part of your freedom, and part of my love for you is absolutely being okay with the person always experiencing themselves how they need to experience themselves in the moment. So I'm learning how to be loving by allowing all things, even allowing someone to be upset. I'm not saying you are, but allowing someone to be upset with me, or allowing someone to want to communicate, not to. See, that's love. Love isn't me making sure you always say something loving to me. If I love you, my love is big enough to contain your anger, your upset, your misperception, and everything else you have about me.
I'm just trying to understand. Are you trying to bring a world that is people are not in units and children are born and just everybody is free to explore, like in the old days?
No, there's never been in old days where everybody was free.
You know, the first person. You know, people were more like a community living.
No, what I'm saying is I want a world that people are making the decision to be awake in God and to be awake in love. I want to be in a world where people embrace each other, allow each other to be, trust each other, and don't try to possess each other, and are never fearful of each other, and they join with each other. That's the world.
And that's very wonderful. That's 100% wonderful.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
But I was going more deeper to the intimate part and all this stuff that you
What?
mentioned, and I'm thinking, so what is it? So we all should be in commune or something?
No, there's nothing that I'm saying that has anything to do with the physical form.
I see.
Everything that I'm talking about has to do with the content and the attitude and the energy and the thought that we have about each other. Love doesn't need the body at all. Love doesn't need to do anything that has to do with the body at all. Love doesn't need to physically join or not physically join. Love doesn't need the body at all. The body is just one way that love could be expressed through.
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. We make up the behaviors. And I'm glad you said this because people are wondering these kind of things. We make up the behaviors. That's how we know it's not real. Because one culture has one way of being and another culture has another way of being and another culture has another way of being and another culture. So all morality is made up. All cultures are made up. So we know they're not based on anything real. Because anything real applies to everybody equally, and anything real you can't not do. You cannot, if it's a real law, a law of God, you don't have any choice but to obey it. Just like we can't sit up here tonight and say we're going to disobey the law of gravity. Okay, I don't care how much we philosophize, talk, debate, you can't disobey the law of gravity right now. You can be mystical and all that and talk, well, if I'm mystical, well, let me see you float right now. Okay, so therefore we can assume that all of us are in the same place right now. Okay, so my point is, remember that most of the things, if not all of the things that we are reacting to in behavior are learned behavior. We learned it. That's why there's some cultures you can have 100 wives and it's okay. That's their culture. The same thing over here. The mistake that we make is we believe our culture should be the culture for all cultures. That's the same as me saying, my way of living my life, I'm going to force it on you and you should live according to my values. It says that's where the clash comes in. Each person comes up with their morality and then they try to project it on everybody else. And then that's where we clash. If you have a morality, you live your morality. You live your morality. Don't try to make me live your reality. Your morality, you live it. Because what I notice is that people usually don't live their own truth. Even though they're trying to get everybody else to do it. I would like to see the people who are judging everybody do the things they're judging everybody else for. It's not doing. So, this is a rile up subject, but I don't care because I want to experience real love. So I'm taking a stand for it, for myself. I'm going to agree with what I'm being taught, since this is what I say my spiritual path is. I'm not going to fight with my spiritual path. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to fight with my path.
But I think I heard you say earlier that really the form's irrelevant. I could have a monogamous or a monogamish or a polyamorous relationship, and it can be fear-based,
Right.
and that would be specialness.
Right.
But I could also have any of those forms of relationship, and it exhibit the embracing of all things, the allowing of all things, the trusting of all things, transcending together, never being possessive, and that we would not be fearful. And so if I was doing any of those things and I was in a monogamous relationship, then I would be serving love through that form.
That's right.
So it's irrelevant what relationship form, it's how the relationship is lived.
And that's exactly what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Is that it's not the form that matters when you begin to wake up, it's the content that matters. So is it fear-based or is it love-based? One is not more important than the other. One is not the holy grail than the other. That's why one of the people that I always especially want to reach out to when I teach are people who are in non-traditional alternative relationships. Because those are the people who don't get a lot of innocence. People who do things traditional ways act like their way is the way that everybody should do it. Instead of going, this is one way that works for some people. This is another way that works for some people. This is another way. So I want an all-inclusive teaching ministry. I want my teaching ministry to be reaching to every kind of relationship, every kind of gender, every kind of sexual orientation, everybody. There is not any one form that I worship over any other form. But it's important that you be true to yourself, and then you get in touch with the form that works for you, and then you make sure you join with somebody else that also uses that form so that you won't be conflicting all the time, and you can evolve and transcend. But don't pick somebody that's the opposite, and then you spend all your time trying to change each other. You spend all your time trying to change each other. You spend all your time trying to change the other. You spend all your time trying to change the other. That is a totally ego, fear-based relationship. That's all it is.
So you know what, we do agree actually.
Damn! I love you. Yeah.
No, we do agree. I just misunderstood maybe. That's why I was trying to.
Well, that's why really, I understand. And that's what I say. I want to tell you that because I realized I didn't want you to think that at any level I didn't want you to say whatever you needed to say. Because I realized that anything that any of you say is what somebody that's watching wants to ask a question about. Even if you don't ask any questions. There are people that are listening that wanted to hear your question, or your question, or your comment, or your comment. Because we are one.
Yeah.
It's just a thought, of course, but I feel like if you can get rid of all this stuff that we're talking about, all the fear, that you would have a really great time with just one person, if that is.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could.
You can have a really great
much greater time with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a great time with one person, and you can have a great time with 100 people. That's what I'm saying. One form is not more valid than another form. But we have attachment to some forms more than other forms. And the form of one person form is the most popular form in our culture. So when someone says anything about any kind of inclusive love that includes more than one person, it goes against the learning that we've gotten, and we feel resistance to that. And so that's why the truth says, do it the way that works for you. What could be better than that? That if you need a one-on-one connection, then the truth isn't saying that it's not okay to have. Truth can reach you through any form you choose. But I'm also saying everybody doesn't feel that way. I don't feel that way. And I'm not the only one. And I don't want to feel guilty because I don't want to have relationships like everybody else has. It doesn't mean I'm outside the love of God because I don't do the holy grail that everybody else does. But I'll be alone as long as I stay in the closet about my beliefs.
Yeah.
And what I want. And I can't pretend I don't have those ideas because somebody might not like it when I've already said it's okay for you to do it. So what's the opposition? The only thing that's going to happen is that people who think like me are going to know where I'm located. I'm a homing beacon, brother. I'm a homing beacon. Those who want love that embraces all things, allows all things, trusts all things, doesn't want to possess and never fearful, that simply wants to love. Beep, beep, beep. Here I am. Where are you? I'm here. And then somebody who's frightened by that, they're simply going to move away from me.
Yeah.
And they most certainly will not allow me to be intimate with them. Because that's their holy grail treasure. That's the treasure that you give for somebody being special. It's your body in those cases. So you're going to deny me your body if you need specialness. I don't care.
So there's a lot of other bodies.
I'd love to like explore what it looks like to really, I guess I'm conflicted when it comes down to the allowing all things and trusting all things, because on the flip side of it, coming up, like being raised in a Christian background, like this is one of those things that hooks people into abusive relationships. And it's
What hooks them into abusive relationships?
this notion that you're supposed to allow all things and trust all things, which means like the dark side of that, it can be used to say, oh well, somebody's abusing you, well if you really love them you'll stay with them anyway. And I know that's not what it means, but there's a line, and that's how do you trust? What does it look like to be trusting and allowing to somebody who's abusive?
Well, first of all is the main thing to do is to understand that love would not be abuse, love would not be fear, love would not be attack, love would not be guilt. So the only thing that's making me stay hooked is my belief that this is love. That's why I would stay hooked.
Or the belief that if you're loving, you'll stay and love them out of it.
Yeah, and what you want to do is give them a demonstration of love. And a demonstration of love would be you not allowing it. That would be allowing it.
So in that sense, if you separate from somebody, it is loving.
Yes, because what you're talking about separating is your body. Basically, you're just saying, when I say separate, I'm just talking about moving my body to another location. And so, since love has ultimately nothing to do with the body anyway, it might be the most quote-unquote loving thing you can do is to move away so that you can keep a loving perception of yourself and them. Some people, you don't even see them correctly enough to heal with them until you get back off of them. I call it separating to heal. Sometimes you separate to heal. See, what makes it love is your purpose, not the form. So if my purpose for separating from you is for me to maintain peace and for me to allow myself to be more loving toward you, then that's more loving than for me to stay with you in fear, anger, and attack. So it's right back to what it was saying about content over form. So the Course teaches that what you should always ask yourself is, what is the purpose, what is it for? Because it's the purpose that determines the meaning of what you're doing. If I know that you abuse me and I decide that after all the communication that I can possibly do, that for whatever reason I'm creating this, then I might have to put myself in another physical location long enough to break that pattern. And so I should feel okay about that. Because for me to say I'm going to stay with somebody that's abusing me actually is me joining in the suffering too. And that's not love. See, and that's what most people think, like you say, hang in there. They're just saying I'm going to join in the suffering. But what they really don't realize is they're sticking with that person because that person is giving them what they think they deserve.
Yeah.
That's the real reason why people stay in abusive relationships and can't let them go. It's hard to leave somebody who's like you. if I believe I deserve to be abused and you're the abuser, I'm in a relationship with you that's fulfilling both of our needs. And so therefore I'm not going to be able to get away from you because you're giving me what I want. Even though I tell myself I don't want it. How do I know I want it? I stay there. That's how I know I want it. Because I'm an adult, I have the ability to go. I have a choice, but I'm not using that choice. So that's why it's so important that the person who sees themselves as being abused, it's so important for them to get into what you said earlier, which is self-love. Because the more that they love themselves, the less they're going to allow themselves to be in situations where they're not appreciated. And that's what will break the chain, will be loving themselves. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought that up because that's what I meant when I said earlier that some people believe that, you know, that loving somebody means them just changing their mind and then continuing to allow themselves to be in something that's not supportive of them. Because I know it's my consciousness that's creating it. And so since it's my consciousness, all I have to do is change my mind and then they're going to change. Unless you're a super duper truth student that ever lived, you ain't pulling it off. And you're not going to pull it off if you already know you don't study. You already know you don't read, you don't study, that you don't meditate, that you don't focus on the truth, then how are you going to change your mind and change the situation? So you know as soon as you say that, that's a trick. Because you already know what you're doing and not doing towards your spiritual path. So now you're talking about, I'm going to do enough studying for both of us, and I'm not even doing enough study for me. But all of a sudden, I'm going to do enough that's going to change both of us. See, it's a trick. That's the other thing that's so important about studying the spiritual path. Because the spiritual path will tell you, your spiritual path will tell you all of the obstacles that you're going to put in your own path to block you so that you recognize them when they show up and not allow yourself to be fooled. That's why you need to study your spiritual path because it's going to say, now your ego is going to try to do this and this and this to fool you, to keep you going through the same stuff you've been going through. But if you don't study, it's almost impossible not to fall for the tricks of your mind. I'm telling you, the average person is not aware enough to see their own ego without help. It's crap when people say, I'm just going to figure it out on my own, but I'm not going to do a spiritual path for myself. I'm just going to figure it out. You say, no, you're not. Your ego is going to get your butt in a sling because you don't even know what's going on. So whatever your spiritual path is, commit yourself to it. Dedicate yourself to it. Make it the most important thing in your life. Is your whatever that is. And I'm not saying it should be anything that I'm teaching. Whatever it is, but don't try to do this on your own. Your ego would love to get you on your own, where there's no other voice that you're listening to but it, your old learning. It's a trick. So I'm going to go on now. All right. Take a breath. Oh, such a light class, isn't it? Oh, I see people's eyes rolling and sweat coming off some people's All I've said is this, you all. You deserve to be loved. If you're hearing anything else, it's your ego. That you don't deserve to be abused or hurt or limited or not appreciated. If you're hearing anything else from me, you're not hearing me. You're just hearing what you made up. Just like I said at the beginning of the class. You're just hearing yourself. Because I know what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that you're guilty or limited in any way. But I'm also screaming out to the universe of people who are also like me. Too. And by the emails I'm getting and the calls that I'm getting and the responses that I'm getting, there are more people out there like me than I could have ever imagined. More than I could ever get around to. But I had to take a stand before they started showing up. You can't be wishy-washy. You can't be giving mixed signals out to the universe. Whatever it is you think you really need, the way you think you need it, that's important to you, that's coming from your own inner guide, you need to be 100% committed to that. You got to draw a line in the sand and say, I will not accept this, or that anymore. I will not allow myself to be with someone who doesn't appreciate me and doesn't express it, and I express it too. I will not be in a relationship like that. Period. I don't care what they look like. I don't care how much money they got, what they look like, nothing. You got to draw a line in the sand about what you will accept and not accept. If you ever want to draw a person to you that's like that. who feels the same way. You know, and you move at a lightning-like speed when you're with somebody who's going with you instead of against you. Go with somebody that's going with you, not against you. Even though you had the best make-up sex in the world with them. Sometimes people just do it for that. All that fear and anger, and just can't get enough of each other. Therefore, whenever you recognize that you have singled someone out and say they hold a greater value, you may rest assured that you're not in love at all. You're in fear. And if that one were to leave you, where would you be? But if you are in love as a fish within the sea, all beings can arise and pass away. All beings can arise and pass away. All beings can arise and pass away, and you will bless them in their journey. I formed a relationship with you. You formed a relationship with me. We joined for a while. We had a very intense and wonderful connection. You want to move away, then I will bless you on your journey. You don't want to be with me anymore. I want to be on the level of consciousness that I can say, I bless you on your journey. I'm not stalking though. I bless you. Okay? He says, you will remember that you reside where God has placed you in her heart. When you choose to be only the presence of love, see, that's what I was saying earlier. When you choose to be only the presence of love, even the dream of loss will dissolve from your consciousness as a forest mist before the rising sun. In other words, I'm not arrogant when I say to you that if someone leaves me, that I believe it means someone even cooler is on the way. Even though I might feel my feelings of loss. But I'm conscious enough now to know if you choose to leave a relationship with me, or I choose to leave a relationship with you, then I should not want to be in relationship with you. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you're choosing to leave me, which means you've learned as much as you can with me. That's why you want to go. That's why you want to go. That's why they want to go. So then I go, well, I'm in the presence of love, so love is just going to take another form. Let's picture love as an energy, right? That love has been coming to me through her. For whatever reason, she's learned as much as she can from me. So therefore, she doesn't want to be in a relationship with me. So therefore, love isn't coming through the way that it was before, right? Now, if she's the source of my love, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to think, well, if she doesn't give it to me, I don't have any love. Love is going to go, she wants to give it to me. She wants to be an open channel. So love is going to now come through her, and it's going to be more compatible with where I am now. She's going to meet somebody who's more compatible with where she is now. And so we both are still experiencing love. But the minute I decide that she's special and love can only come through her, can't you see how I've now limited myself? Especially if she no longer wants to be the channel for it. And so I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to get her to give me the love she once gave me. Anybody familiar with that? But love might be saying, but I'm over here. I got some good stuff for you over here. I'm available right now, today, but I'm over here. I'm not over there anymore. I'm over here. I want to use this body. So just keep asking for love instead of asking for her. So if any of you are lacking anything, it's because you decided on the form it should come in. You're not rich because you are deciding how wealth should come. But if you just ask for your abundance, it would come through the form that it could come to you the easiest. But no, I decided I'm starting a brand new business. And so my money's going to come through this business that I've just formed, this latest idea. But love wants to come to me through inheritance from Uncle Joe that I didn't even know I had. But I'm not open to that because I decided it's going to come through my hard work and sweat and blood and tears over here. So I'm looking for it over here, but abundance could come to me through another form right now a lot easier. Stop focusing on the form and start focusing on the content, and let the content create the form. So how do you know what that form will be? It will inspire you. That's how you know what the form is. If you come up with your own business and you're inspired by that idea because you really feel that love is trying to reach you, that's different from coming up with an idea and thinking that that form is the source of your abundance. See the difference? One way is a channel. The other way, I'm looking at it as the source. Don't confuse the channel with the source. Don't confuse the channel with the source. We are channels for love for each other. We aren't the source of love for each other. And love could want to come through him, her, him, her. And you think I'm going to deny myself that? No. And nobody that loves me would ask me to deny myself that.
Right.
Nobody that loved me would say, I don't want you to love anybody else. Anybody that loves me would say, I want you to be loved. And so once you know that, you know when you're around somebody that loves you or not. And you can make better choices. Now it's depressing because if a person hears this correctly, they'll realize they're just surrounded with fear in most cases. And they get depressed. Like, damn, is nobody really loving me that way he's talking about? Of course not. That's why we needed to have the idea introduced. Because everything comes from an idea. So we had to start the idea. And then the more we share the idea, the stronger it becomes. So the idea of you being loved unconditionally, that must be an idea that you birthed for yourself. Unless you're so possessive of somebody else, it terrifies you to think of your own freedom. I never met a person who didn't want freedom for themselves. But I've met plenty of people who didn't want freedom for somebody else. But I've never met a person that I said, I want to give you that freedom. They go, no. But that same person will be trying to possess somebody else. Because they're afraid. That's all. They're just afraid of loss, that there's not enough love. And I want to admit that there's a part of me that feels that way. There's a part of me that wants to possess. There's a part of me that wants to limit. There's a part of me that wants to exclude. There's a part of me that wants to be loved and given more attention than anybody else. I admit it. You know what the beauty is of admitting that? You'll attract people who treat you that way too. So you have the specialness that you want while you're getting the holiness that you want. At the exact same time. You have somebody giving you just the amount of specialness you need while you're trying to learn how to let go of it you really love. So then you won't be afraid because nothing is missing. So I get just the right amount of specialness I need. It's the perfect amount. So then I'm relaxing my possessiveness because I'm still getting a lot of possessiveness and specialness, just the right amount. And then I'm studying, so I'm letting go over here. At the same time, I'm getting just the right amount because Spirit's in charge. So there's no sacrifice in the past. You will have as much specialness as you need as long as you want to transcend it and go to real love. There's no loss on this path. There is no loss on this path. If you need specialness, Spirit will send you just the amount you need. They'll go, you're so special to me, and I want to learn how to be conscious. You're so special to me, and I want to learn what real love is. So the part of you that needs specialness will be, and then the part of you that wants to go beyond it and say, oh, we're going to grow together. That's where you be talking to each other. We're going to grow together. Love is in charge of your life now. Love is in charge of your life now, not fear anymore. Fear doesn't operate the way love does. And we're so used to fear, when we hear about love, we go, what the hell? And then we make the mistake of thinking about what we've experienced in the past, which doesn't apply anymore. What you went through in the past doesn't apply anymore because everything you did in the past, you did it from another level of consciousness than the one you're on right now. So you can't use anything about your past to judge what's going to happen in the future because you're not the same person you were in the past. I don't care if you just had 1,000 relationships that was horrible. It doesn't mean your next one has to be because you're not the same. And since that thrilled everyone, let's acknowledge ourselves right now. That was the best news that everybody could have heard. Woo! I'm always shocked when people come to my class. Nobody's more surprised than Earl Purdy. I'm telling you. So, those of you who would care to share, I would love a financial expression of appreciation as a full-time teacher. And I bless you, and we're channels for each other. And I deserve to receive, and you deserve to receive. And I love you, and I appreciate you so much. If you're online and you want to show a financial expression of appreciation in a way that really makes a difference in my life, thank you for sharing. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and you can do that. And also I'm available for one-on-one sessions where we can get down with your personal thing that you would like to see differently. And I can apply these teachings with you to it so that you can be released from whatever is causing you unhappiness. And those who are open to it, and I also can use astrology and numerology as another way for the Holy Spirit to communicate to us. Everything in the world is just a way to communicate. Go to my website, it explains it. And also sign up on my contact list. For those of you here, I have one here. Either you can just go online, and then when I upload these classes, then you will get an email letting you know that the class is available to watch, as well as a link that you can click on, and it will take you straight to the video. Because if you leave out of here, I guarantee you, in most cases, you're not going to hear what the Way of Mastery just said to us when you watch TV tonight. Almost no matter what channel you turn to, and in any magazine you pick up. So if we're not proactive about hearing the truth, we'll go back to sleep again and just keep on doing it the way we've always done it. The Course calls it the sleep of forgetfulness. So we just forget. That's why you want to have a holy relationship. A holy relationship is just a relationship where you all are reminding each other of what we just said and demonstrating to each other. That's all a holy relationship means. We can still go to the movie. We can still go to the park. We can still go to concerts. But while we're in the concert and you may be criticizing yourself, I'll be reminding you of how innocent and beautiful and loved you are. That's holy. I'll be seeing you free instead of seeing you limited. I won't be attacking you. I'll be safe for you. That's a holy relationship. So there's no sacrifice of the pleasures of the world. The Course in Miracles says we're looking for where we're going to lose. That we're listening to, how am I going to lose by what I'm hearing? How is it not going to work? And I don't know how to break this to you. You never lose under love. Ever. You can never lose what you love. Ever. Ever. If it's love, you never lose it. Ever. And that's what I meant when I said earlier about still being in some relationships with people who are, we call in the world exes. You know what I said to her? God, I'm so glad to know our love was real. Because we are not acting like we can't still communicate with each other in peace. So we really did love each other. The ones that the grievance is there, they don't want to speak to me ever again, it was never love. Never was love. That doesn't mean we're going to hang out all the time, but we should be able to communicate in peace. I should not be afraid to pick up the phone if I needed to call and talk. Even if we never are physical in any way again. Because the only thing that changed was the form of the relationship, not the content, which was we joined and we care about each other. Form is going to always change. Form is going to always change. But the content doesn't have to. Yes, brother.
Doesn't the relationship stay in the mind? Because when you come together, the minds join.
That's what I'm saying. The relationship is in the mind.
Right.
And so it is us being joined in purpose. And because at the physical level, we can't all physically join.
Right.
I tried that in the 70s. I couldn't keep up. I gave it up. So you can't do it physically. Take my word for it. But I can join with all of you in the heart and in the mind and in purpose. We can love the world in purpose and in the mind. You're absolutely right. You're right. You're right. So it doesn't mean you're going to be treating and behaving with everybody exactly the same way. But it does mean the content will be the same. No fear. Sense of joy. And it'll find you if you draw the line in the sand. Draw the line in the sand tonight. Draw the line in the sand tonight. Decide what your inner self is telling you that you need in a relationship. Even if it means, and you might not agree with this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Even if it means sitting down, writing down what you want, what you desire. Don't let the ego take, well, that's not supposed to be doing it. You say don't focus on form. You might need to focus on form at first. You might need to say, this is the characteristic that I'm going to accept in people that I'm close to, and these are the characteristics I'm not going to join with in people that I know. You might need to do that, especially if you got a habit of joining with people in unsatisfying relationships. It just means you're not giving clear signals to the self and to the universe. You don't know what you want. You're just trying everything that shows up in hopes. It's like throwing something against the wall and seeing what sticks. That's what most people do. I'm going to try everybody. And then just maybe just one of them will work. Are you breathing? Let's go out. Okay, so let's take a breath, and we're gonna land this trip. All right. So next time you say that you are in love, what that means is you mean it like a fish within the sea. I'm in love with you. Don't you hear it? I'm in the ocean swimming with you. That's what I'm in love with you should be meaning. I'm in love and you are in love. We are in love with each other. So you want to be in love with each other. And you want to be in love with yourself. And then be in love with God. We are in love with each other. We are in love with ourselves. We are in love with the universe. We are in love with God. We are in love with ourselves. We are in love with each other. We are in love with God. I am in love with others. I am in love with myself. I am in love with God. We are in love. We are in love. We are in love. We are in love. Love embraces all things. Love allows all things. Love trusts all things. Love transcends all things. Love is never possessive. Love is never fearful. Love is simply love. Love cannot shine with specialness upon anyone at any time. So you are either in love or you are with someone that you have a call for love with. So if you're in a relationship and it's not the kind of relationship, and I'm not talking about just romantic relationships, but if you're in any relationship that is fear-based in any way, what you are experiencing is a call for love. You are in a call for love relationship. If you're in a relationship with any kind of fear, any kind of guilt, any kind of anger, you're in a call for love relationship. We're in call for love relationships. We are in call for love relationships. We are in call for love relationships. We are in call for love relationships. Your relationship is a call for love. If it's special, your relationship is a call for love. If it's special, your relationship is a call for love. If it's special, your relationship is a call for love. A call for love. A call for love. There's no need to feel guilty or bad if you're in a relationship. That's the opposite of what we've heard tonight. It just means you're in a relationship that is a call for love. A request for real love. A call for love. A call for love. We are calling for love. And that's what I want for each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. I want you to be truly loved. You deserve to be truly loved, appreciated, acknowledged, seen, recognized. So be it. I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming and helping me remember. And let's give us some good juice. Let's give it up for us. Yeah, you deserve it. We cool. So hugs are available. And also, the Course in Miracles is at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And also, CJ wants to make an announcement to you.